Hello, and we're going to try this again. And this is Gaming the Meta episode 7,
Pick
where
two.
it could be episode 8. No, I'm pretty sure it's episode 7. But where we dive into a game that doesn't exist. But fellas, Daniel Waging Commando Howlett, Alex Upgrade Books with me every other week to discuss this uh, pre-existing game. How are your guys' weeks going so far? What you guys been doing?
It's been great, just fucking jumping, doing some jump rope stuff in the
Yeah.
backyard.
Jump rope, yeah.
Yeah, I'm yelling at the neighbors while I'm doing
We all believe that.
it.
Alex?
Oh, my week's good, Adam. My week's good. I'm excited for that. I was super excited to watch the podcast, the stream, and I'm ready to talk about it. That's for sure.
Oh, I was actually gonna start this off because I know that we ended it with the Stormgate discussion, and I saw you played StarCraft 2. So did you are you flipping between the two?
Well, yeah, Stargate's Stargates
Stormgate?
is way more competitive,
StarCraft?
and well, no, Stargate I find
Stormgate.
is
What is?
Stormgate. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like Stargate. What is
Yeah, I
this?
was like
Fucking
Stargate.
no,
What's Stargate? Yeah.
Stormgate.
Oh, like the rank is a bit better?
Stormgate is like very competitive right now. And I'm only trying to learn it, but on the odd occasion where I don't want to be like a hardcore gamer right now, I just kind of play like the mini games on StarCraft. That's about it.
Because I've changed my opinion about Stormgate a little bit. I
Oh, yeah, have you?
yeah, it feels plasticky to me. I don't know. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's a little clunky.
very clunky. The units they some of them feel like they're on skates and then others don't. And do you know
Yeah,
what I found like the unit movement was compared to StarCraft? So StarCraft, it seems like they like flow to where they're going. In Stormgate, they're like a block
yeah, it's
that
like a
like moves
full
around. And I don't know, it messes like the my feeling up. But yeah, I
yeah
think they're like a year away from actually being a decent
something.
release. But they could do
Um,
the
mm,
ESO route and just release the game very no, the Warframe route where they just
the
release half a
Warframe.
game, just improve it over time. But what do you think
Hmm.
about it? What's your race?
Well, I've been playing random because I want to try to learn them all. And the issue I find if you get mirror matchups, it's like you just whoever gets the right units faster. So if you're like a little slower than the other guy, you kind of get murdered instantly
Yeah.
what?
because everyone follows the same path.
What is Stormgate? Is that
It's
like a
the art.
StarCraft?
It's actually
So,
RTS,
yeah. So the story behind it is that I think in like 2017, 18,
something like
a
that.
lot of the ex pros of StarCraft 2, when StarCraft 2 was dying as it's a competitive scene, anyways, the competitive scene was dying. They kind of got together and tried to make their own RTS games to revitalize the RTS. Same way that Intrept's doing it, just they just don't have the same amount of money. I think one of my favorite players, the little one, TLO, is a game tester, a game designer there. I mean, Day 9 Dailies. Day 9's mom is the community manager, Sean Plott,
Yeah.
and what's his brother's name?
Oh, yes. I
Yeah,
can't even think of it
I
now.
can't even think
No,
of it. Anyways,
I.
yeah, the Plot family is involved. There's like an actual gaming community that's behind it along the same ways as Intrepid Studios is. So that I would just want to give the flowers where they should be given. Like it takes a lot to come together and try to rebrand an entire genre.
Yeah, it's
But
pretty wild.
yeah, hopefully they do something, or hopefully maybe Henry Cavill could step in and make a Warhammer 40K
I hope the
RTS.
whole
Yeah, right.
RTS genre just dies out. My brain can't. My little brain.
All right. Well, we have quite. I mean, it wasn't a long live stream, but there was a lot of like interesting things that I've noted down about
Oh,
it.
there's yeah.
Uh, and we'll get into that. But first, like always, we are going into this time. We all three of us, Daniel, sent in sent it in this week.
Hey, what do you mean? I sent it in last week or whichever week.
The fact that I can continually bring it up and continually show my disappointing arrows at you. But this week we are actually doing some classes that I don't think we haven't done. So I'm gonna do the Spellstone, which is the Mage Tank, which I don't
Oh,
think a lot of
nice.
I don't even think a lot of people will play. I think I'm picking the least played class right now out of all of them. Daniel is moving into the Summoner, which is going to be interesting when he talks about it. The Enchanter, Summoner Bard. And Alex is picking the Paladin. So, first off, Daniel. Oh, I forgot to change the topic, but the class, but whatever.
Um, yeah, mine's basically a carbon copy of a World of Warcraft ability, but in WoW it was the mage that did it. But I think with so essentially my skill is what do I call it again? Grand
Grand
Feast or
Feast.
something. um,
I gotta change it.
yeah, it's basically just conjuring up a dinner table that gives everybody a buff if they eat from it. Um, and I think it would be good for Summoner because um, you know how classes have their utilities, like rogues can unlock doors, and you know,
Yeah.
I don't know what other classes could do whatever, but I feel like it would be cool if Summoner had like a 3 hour buff that they provide.
Oh, the way
So
so you sent it so this is word for word. I thought this was a troll spell because it says interact for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I literally thought we were gonna sit at the table for 3 hours.
And you have to
oh
wait
no,
for
I
three
meant
You have
hours
to
for this
wait, yeah.
fucking buff.
no,
So
that's I meant you have the buff for 3 hours. You're
I
not
thought you
sitting
were
there
fucking
fucking eating
trolling me.
dinner for 3 hours. This isn't Thanksgiving dinner, you know.
That's what I thought. I was
Relax.
like, oh my god, this guy, he's gonna not only did he send me a skill, but he disappointed me in another way by trolling me.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I like so we can talk about that because food is a huge thing in the later games of MMOs. I mean, like even in Guild Wars, like the foods and stuff. I know Ion was super
Yeah.
big in it. I don't know if World of Warcraft if you had to like go out and buy dishes to increase your damage buff. So what do you think about like the difference between like a crafting system or an artisan system providing food buffs or like a class doing it?
Like a whole cooking
um,
profession almost.
Yeah, like a
I
cooking
mean,
profession versus like the class doing it.
like I'd say if you're in the cooking profession, you would provide better bonuses, but I just think it would be a good bridge to have a class. I mean, you know, because we were talking about what use classes would have in dungeons and stuff or
Yeah.
raids or whatever, and I think that would be kind of a cool, unique way to want to have a summoner along.
Yeah.
Like if none of you cook, then you could just, you know, buddy can conjure up some chicken tenders or whatever,
Fucking
and then you're
they'll
Chicken strips.
yeah, and then you're off to the races. So
okay. I thought you were gonna say ham squash.
ham squashed.
Ham squash at the
And
leaky
the
spoon.
sprinkle spratzel.
Yeah. It's
And we
Spritzel
go every
Spratzel.
morning to eat at breakfast every morning at the leaky
Leaky
spoon.
spoon. But I honestly think they can get rid of the cooking profession from every game. I think it's so fucking pointless. I think classes could just do it. Like, who cares? Like, I
I
don't
think
know.
just a
Well, I
random
mean,
potion
I
could
don't
do
know.
it.
I mean, cooking definitely is a skill, and I'm sure somebody enjoys doing it. MMOs,
It's just
maybe. I don't know. I'm not much of a crafter, so I can't really speak
I
on
I
that.
don't really have anything like I have no reason for this argument. I just every time I see like the cooking profession as an option, I avoid it, and I just like, why is this even here? Because you just buy all the shit on the trademark anyways. Like nobody really.
Yeah, but what if in real life you're a chef and you wanna show your skill online, your
Yeah,
culinary craft?
yeah. I'm sure that's what chefs are doing in real life. Anyways,
Yeah, as soon as they get done smoking cigarettes and drinking monsters at their
yeah, in the
wine,
back alley.
yeah. They're like, you know what I'd love to do some more? Fucking
Yeah.
cook
After
my
I work 8 hours,
MMO.
10 hours,
There's
cook.
this
Yeah.
TikTok channel where the guy's a chef and it's like the girl records him and she says, "Oh, this is what my boyfriend made for me at fucking 12:30 at night after 8-hour shift." And he like cooks his like extravagant meals and then all the comics are just like, "Man, I can't believe you let him cook again after for you before you get off." Like,
What
like
a dick.
yeah, the guy cooks for
The
eight
girl's just
hours.
getting roasted.
Yeah, just like we don't even know if he wants to do it or not. But
Yeah.
anyways, decent skill, grand feast. Alex, the paladin, holy water. Slam your weapon
Yeah.
on the ground and generate a pool of holy water for 2 seconds. The water cleanses 2 second cast time. I should have been more clear. The
Yeah.
water cleanses the ground of AoE effects and prevents further AoE effects from being applied for X seconds. So
Yeah. So my whole when I was watching that stream, I noticed like don't stand in the fire. How many fucking times did they say that on the stream?
yeah,
Right?
a very common
And
MMO mechanic.
yeah, the other thing I didn't notice there was the circles, you couldn't really tell if you were standing in them. Like sometimes you were on the side of it and you would still get hit. I would kind of like a little like an actual radius circle so you can kind of see it a little bit, but maybe they don't want that because they want a little more of a skill based,
Or maybe more immersive. Like there's not usually
more.
glowing lights in the ground to tell you where to move, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, even the boss, the dragon, didn't even. It just like instantly was doing tail swipes, doing the breath attacks. Like it was pretty just like, okay, it's happening. Like either I'm gonna get healed or I dodge it now, right? But when those little patches were coming out and you had to stand and you get burnt, I always thought of like something like a little area circle so your tanks can stay there a little bit longer,
Yeah.
and they can get healed,
Yeah, I
which
like
would
the
be
idea
fun.
of like having a skill that counters a mechanic. I mean, I say that loosely because everybody's good and beats like, oh, then you just cheat the mechanic, blah blah blah. But if you really want to play like a class that has like a creative quality to it, not a lot of MMOs do this, where it's like, hey, there's this common mechanic that comes in all the time. Here's like a specific skill that the paladin out of
Yeah,
1 of 64 can negate very briefly. So I like that it's like a 2 second cast time, that it's only in an area. It's not like the whole thing.
yeah,
It's clearly going to be smaller than the overall raid group or like the anyways.
yeah. And
But yeah,
it's
what
not like for those area effect attacks either. It's just for like when the lightning hits down and there's like that little patch of light like electrical field there still. Like it's for
yeah.
that stuff, like the after. It's not the damage itself.
Oh, it's the
So
after effect.
it's
Yeah.
mostly just for the after effect. And it's like that's what kills a lot of tanks is just like don't stand in the fire. Don't stand on the red dots, like Asmacole would say, or
Yeah.
like it's not a hard game,
Or
just
like
don't stand in the
or
red.
like even healers, because a lot of the times they're looking at the we're going to go over the UI and stuff for the raid, but like a
Yeah.
lot of the times they're looking at the the raid
All the
bars and
other
not
people.
yeah, and not like what they're doing
I
necessarily.
feel like I won't be so bad in this game though. I feel like it just gets ridiculous. Like for example, World of Warcraft as there's just so many like UIs to look at.
Yeah.
Things
There's a lot.
happening.
There's just like 3 trillion things popping onto your screen. It's like it's hard to even know where you're standing, which I think is it's good to keep for sure. But
Uh 2 for 2 on things that I like about these skills. Next it's mine. I went the spellstone Organic Eruption. Enhance elemental empowerment. For those that don't know, elemental empowerment is the mage passive where when they use an element, they enchant their weapon. with that set element to deal X more damage for Y seconds. Dealing damage from basic attacks and taking damage charges your shield. Once fully charged, fire a beam from your shield in front of you, dealing N and apply the elemental effect that charges our Arcanic Eruption the most. Sorry. Note elemental effects: fire equals burn, frost, slow, lightning, volatile, arcane equals plus damage, and N equals damage dealt plus damage taken. Anyways, big skill. Um,
Okay.
so it's essentially in charge when your passive. When you deal damage and take damage, you store that, and then you pull up your shield and shoot a beam in front of you. But I I was trying to do something more extravagant because I feel like the first time we did this, Alex had chain hook or whatever, and it was just like this crazy ass skill, and I don't think we've delved into the creativeness that this segment offers. So I try to
Yeah,
be more creative,
a little
and I
more.
and I think like mage tanks or like battle mages, they get kind of left behind in most games. And if you had like something really cool and something that actually like takes a bit of time and something to work towards as like a skill like this, it
Yeah,
involves more players.
gives a little more skill cap too. Like this is your skill cap. Like you kind of build up to this and you blow it out, right? So,
Yeah, Daniel.
so what do you
Mm-hmm.
think, Daniel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
hmm hmm
I'm just thinking all sorts of things.
Is this gonna be just for a shield? But if you're like dual wielding, so like daggers or something, could you shoot it from the dagger? Like, can you? Because they didn't really specify if you can block with two hands yet.
So what they say about weapons is that you can use any weapon, but when you use a
Yeah,
skill, it will auto swap to the weapon that the skill comes
it
out of.
represents. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I I prefer classes to have specific weapons. So like whether it's an option or mandatory is completely up to the game. But if you're playing a tank, if you're any kind of tank, if you don't have a shield, like what's the fucking point, man?
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Just
What are you
go
doing?
do something else. I get it.
Well,
It might be like
what
the
if you're like, um, what if you're like a tank mage and you could use a staff to project a magical shield,
well, that's
force
different.
field?
But the difference would be that at least you're still actively projecting a shield. So like a
Or
magical
if you
shield
have
versus physical
two wands
two
and
wands,
you're like,
but you're not physically
yeah,
blocking with the wand.
yeah, but
You're
what if you're like cast like a little parrying shield and
You
then
know
you
what's
got
gonna
like
happen, Daniel? Is you're gonna get gated and not get invited.
yeah,
Put your fucking shield on.
yeah, exactly. No, but like if you're a duelist, like or like if you're a rogue, I mean, put the double daggers on. Like, come on.
Yeah,
no,
Like,
come on, two-handed axe.
yeah,
yeah.
two-handed
One
axe for rogue. And I get it. I get it. People want to play their
executioner
own game and
axe.
stuff.
Oh,
This
I
is
think it's
just
pretty funny.
my personal opinion about the archetypes and stuff
I,
because
I I agree with that though because it's good to have freedom with builds and stuff, but when you're playing a certain class, you have to kind of adhere to what the class is. Otherwise, there's no identity to it.
yeah, like maintain the identity. So this is like one of the skills. I feel like if we go more into depth into this like kind of topic, if we create skills that promote the class's identity, then people will be actually you'll start seeing more uh, population diversity between the
Yeah.
classes because it'll be like it won't be oh I'm gonna pick a fucking paladin from Lost Ark because they're the best healers at the moment or a bard or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like oh I'm gonna pick a bard because the skill
Oh,
is cool and they fucking do this blah blah blah, right? It's less about
yeah.
strength and more about identity. Which brings is a not bad, decent segue to our next segment, high key, low key, no key. And this segment is going to be directed towards the topic of today's discussion for the most part. The the raid. Now you see there's the video here. First, I just want to take note of the party composition that they're running. One tank, two healers, everyone else DPS with a bard. Kind of what we were saying.
Yeah.
Just one bard.
It's not playing.
I know
I don't
it's
think it's.
paused.
Oh, okay.
I
I
paused.
wonder if their buffs like stack.
That's what I was
The
wondering too.
heals.
No, the bard buffs.
Imagine having a party with like 6 bards. Everybody's just fucking singing and dancing and shit.
Well, imagine how fast you're going. You're just going. You're
Yeah.
just sprinting.
Well, okay,
Like,
obviously not the movement speed. That would be a little bit ridiculous if you had like 4 stacks of that, but
well, why not? Like, if you're gonna go fight a dragon, you might as well get out of there quickly.
well, I mean, you can only go so fast just because like somebody's playing 8 songs at the same time doesn't mean you could run 3,000 fast.
Let's bring up a good question. Like, how does the buff stacking like factor in? Is it
They
more
probably,
like
I feel like most games that it might be like Guild Wars where it has like a limit to how many stacks you could have or something.
Yeah.
yeah? I'm like a
Or they're just like you can only have one of that stack, or one. Like in Lost Ark, a lot of a lot of people don't pick the same uh class because they all have like the synergy skills with it, and it's all different. Like, because like a Glavier has a crit synergy, but the Gun Lancer has a damage buff and a shield buff, and they don't match. But if you had two gunslingers or whatever who have the same buff, it just only one activates, but they're both on cooldown, so it doesn't matter. So you kind of have to like play
like
with it.
yeah, like communicate
It
to
just refreshes it. Like if I remember correctly, it refreshes the timer.
oh. See, I think
It's,
they should do it where it's like diminishing returns, where like one buff you'll get it fully, and then the next one that's on top will be like 80% efficient.
or half or
And
whatever.
then it's like next is 60, 20, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I really wanted to, one of the first things I notice is I don't it's not paused in this frame, and maybe I'll get it. But the gear on Steven's fucking character looks so fucking cool.
The flames. Oh, I was
Yeah,
like, was that in the pre-release? Did I miss this shit?
and I was really impressed. I was really impressed with all the models actually, and the models I was gonna we're gonna talk. Are did you? So Daniel, obviously Alex and I like the models. Did you like the models of the classes and stuff? The armor.
I did. Kind of like how it's like the I don't know. I think the general aesthetic of the game and the graphic I like quite a bit. The style. Um, Honestly, I'd say I'd probably like it more than Elder Scrolls. Guild Wars, I like the art style too, but I like the races and stuff in the game too. Like it feels more grounded.
Diverse.
Yeah.
So
I was really impressed by like just the creativity of the shield. Like, I mean, so many games try to make their own like spin-offs of shields. I mean, they do and they don't. It feels like we've just seen the same kind of
I think
um
it's nice just to go back to like kind of the roots, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because every game tries to be like it's like Call of Duty, for example. Everybody just wants a modern tactical shooter, but they have like I don't even. It's all the kids buying this shit though, but all
Yeah.
the all the adults are getting pissed. Like my
Yeah, like a
tactical
dragon gun.
shooter, and then now they have like I saw a skin of a machine gun that had the belt magazine or whatever. It was like a fish bowl, and there's like a fish floating around inside. So, um,
You know,
you know,
And the fish just skin.
in some
it's a
games
little
it
bit.
works. Like Valorant,
Oh
one of
yeah,
the
for sure. It's already the art style of the game.
yeah.
That's
But
But anyway, what I'm saying is I think nowadays like people would just like to go back to the roots, like a lot of stuff is. over the top nowadays.
It is over the
So
top, and I think a lot of. I mean, we've been both playing Guild Wars pretty for the last week. I mean, more
Yeah.
so in the last week, but I feel like a lot of their skins are just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like the glitch stuff and uh, there's one where the shield is just like a piece of rock that goes this way, and then it's like wind everywhere
oh
else.
yeah,
I'm like, it
Yeah.
it, it kind of looks cheesy and corny, but the one that Steven's wearing, it like starts off as a normal shield, and then it has a wing that flares out. Which I mean, I I love that as like it's a normal shield, a blacksmith. Like realistically, a guy could even in today's world could forge it like that. It might take fucking years, but realistically, somebody could do it. It looks good. It fits the aesthetic. It fits the theme. It definitely drives home the fantasy point of view points. I really liked the models, the effects. How do we like the effects? This is the first time that we saw 8 people tackling an event. Common criticism of the art style, now that we bring it up, is that the effects kind of are too much or not enough. They can't find a sweet spot. What do we think about the overall effects of the skills and stuff?
I think it's been good. I just find if the effects are a little bit over the top, then you have no idea what the hell is going on
Yeah,
in a group. Like I like it to look good enough, but I mean I don't know. I think it's fine the way it is.
It's not too flashy. Like even
Yeah,
watching the stream again, like
I'd rather be able to like
see what's
differentiate,
happening.
yeah, what's actually going on versus like 3,000 fireballs and colors flying all over the place. So
yeah. Is there a
Yeah.
game where you don't like the effects?
um, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Elder Scrolls the ability effects are not. I played it for a long time, but I felt like the FX and just
Yeah, I felt
um,
Black Desert was awful for this. Black Desert Online. I
World of
especially
Warcraft
feel
is
like
also kind of bad for it. Like I don't know what it's like nowadays. They've updated a lot of the skills, but like at least before, like years ago, stuff was a little bit crazy sometimes.
Black Desert, there was just like so much shit going on. I mean, thankfully, when I was playing it, anyways, like the time to kill was really short. Like it happened in an instant, and you just like literally ran around in a circle, and a full rotation might take like fucking a minute, if that. And you didn't get to really see any of your skills, but on the trailers and stuff, where you max out all the graphics and the contrast of the game, you can't
Yeah, just
you can't even see the map sometimes 'cause some of the
no.
skills. It's
I like how the AOE's in the game, like at least with the dragon fight, um, they aren't like telegraphed on the floor with a border or something like that.
oh yeah, we're gonna get to that, don't worry. Uh
No,
the other so how do we what do we think about the overall like the scale of the Citadel and like how everything kind of comes together in the story? Because the way the guy was explaining it was kind of made a lot of sense as a for a story point of view. You know, they took over from the Steel Bloom people, and they're to like resurrect the lady. I forget it all. But how do we feel about like the
Yeah.
overall setting of the first part of the
I,
raid here?
I liked it.
um,
It was a nice little raid. Like this is what you kind of expect for an alpha too. Like you got your little citadel, like little castle, and you kind of storm it a little bit, and you have your little objective, and you had your boss at the end, and I think it looked good. The only thing I would like a little more was like obviously that the relic was like a dragon egg. I wish like the dragon could speak to you for like, or if you had the egg, like there would be like more precedence to attack you.
Oh, it was like there was the game didn't tell you why the dragon showed up.
Yeah, it
Right.
just
Like
kind
there
of
was
like I'm a dragon.
oh, you're done
I'm looking
channeling
for
my
my
egg.
donkey. I'm looking for my donkey. Um, but yeah, that's the only kind of like counterpoint to it. But I really like, other than the particle, I think they could have used a little. They could have downgraded the particle with like all the light beams are really good, but it kind of overshadowed all the other little things that they were like trying to show. But
Yeah,
all
on
in
the
all, I
lighting,
like the little elm.
I was gonna say on the lighting, I thought it was a bit too bright. Like
Yeah,
it looked decent, but usually when you walk out on a sunny day, it's not blinding,
yeah,
right? But that's just me. I don't know.
yeah.
Daniel?
And
Um,
I'm surprised how much healing they were able to do. Like there's a lot of healing with just two healers, and it seemed like it
I
was like everyone was topped up the whole time.
I liked it. I was just I was hoping that they would probably preview something a little bit more unique because I don't know. It just seems pretty standard for me. You know, with the dragon and stuff. I think I was saying that earlier. Like obviously the game's more akin to Dungeons and Dragons, so it's obviously
Yeah.
dragons and stuff. But I'm just hoping they have some more unique enemies to fight, or
Yeah, I
like
feel like even like
I mean
even
they probably will. I'm just saying like
yeah.
um it'd be cool to explore more obscure sides of like Dungeons and Dragons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um I mean even in like the Citadel part, uh like even like we've seen molten rock creatures in every facet of fucking
Yeah,
games ever, right?
I mean, you can't get away from it. I'm just saying, like, I wish they would have shown a preview of something that has like a little bit more.
Yeah. Actually, now that I mention it, like some of these guys, some of the enemies look pretty fucking sick, even as is.
Mhm.
Like there's
yeah,
the archer with the cape in the back. But what do we? But I look. Everyone's talking about the dragon, but let's just focus on like this part. We wanted so last episode we were talking a lot about like mechanics, and I know I think Daniel, I think you mentioned that it would be cool to have like a jumping puzzle or anything. And as you were saying, it was kind of it's not really a unique raid. So what did we think about the mechanics that they're gonna get to here? It's there was a definitely like a wave mechanic going on, like fight wave after wave
I
after
mean,
wave after wave.
I think it was fine. I don't think. I'm just saying that some fights would be cool if they had some sort of like
Yeah.
movement oriented thing, but um, I don't know. Yeah, it's about pretty standard for a dragon. It's got the tail swipe, they
No, but
breathe fire.
these
They,
mechanics,
you know?
the mechanics at the Citadel, where you had to like
yeah.
wait for
Like
the charging and stuff.
you had to like defend
Oh,
the girl, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty cool. I did enjoy that part. I also thought that it's kind of cool how there would be different enemy types depending on which tier you're doing. I think they mentioned
Oh yeah.
yeah,
because they said depending on your I forget what it said in the preview. Either like depending on what tier you pick or what level your party is.
Yeah,
yeah,
there was at the Q&A there was a question that I don't think they answered correctly, but the question was like how would because this is an open world dungeon and we'll get to that during the dragon, but another group can like come in, kill them all, finish the raid and then leave. So one of the questions was how does that affect the quote unquote performance of the dungeon? Like if a raid if an opposing guild comes in and wipes you out, does it lower the difficulty of the dungeon? And they didn't really answer that. They just said um it would monitor it.
I would assume that it would stay the same. It would make sense for it to just get easier randomly.
Yeah.
Like if you want to interrupt something, you'd probably have to be equivalent level. I would assume,
Yeah,
or you
that's
just get
true.
your ass kicked or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And I mean it should stay the same because how does somebody invading the last fight affect the difficulty throughout the dungeon? I don't know. It just seems like you're punishing because imagine if they like fight the original party that was there wins and the other party backs off And now that the dungeon reads that there's 2x amount of people, it's twice as hard.
Yeah.
Like that would be a bit difficult for me to come to terms with. But overall I thought it was a good showcase. I mean, this was just the iceberg to the entire showcase because when we get to the 40-man raid, uh there's a lot more things to talk about. Some of the little Easter eggs that I saw in here, not in here, but in the next one, is that there's no defiance checks or stability checks. And I was going to talk to you,
Oh,
Alex.
stagger.
Yeah, because I don't know if we ever mentioned this before, but there was this one time on the podcast, because I know me and you talked about it, but you were playing Lost Ark with your striker, and I forget what raid you were at, and then you just soloed the stagger check, and everyone in group
Yeah.
was like, "What the fuck happened?"
Yeah. That the I love the stagger text. It's funny because like yeah, I don't know how would I connect this all, but in Lost Ark, if you haven't played, strikers at the time had like the best stagger, and now it's something else. I don't know what it is now, but I literally just made like a full stagger build. Everyone didn't like me at the time, but I was like, no, it's funny because I just delete the bar and we don't have to worry about it at
Yeah,
all.
because you did no damage, but your damage came
Yeah,
from stagger check.
like I did
Well,
a
how I was going to connect it
80% of my
was
sorry.
oh, sorry. I was going to say how I was going to connect it was how do we feel about that aspect, kind of that option of builds being taken away, because you can also make defiance breaking builds in Guild Wars 2. I mean, not like specifically, but there's some
Yeah,
weapons that have like 500 defiance or 700 defiance bar stuff.
yeah.
So what do we? So now that there's no bar, there's no, and I this is what I wanted. I didn't want a fucking defiance bar. How do we think about that? Is that like an easy mechanic to kind of put into any video game, and when they want to do it, they'll do it?
Well, I would like I wouldn't mind like Asma. I watched also like Asma Gold's little stream about it too, and he was saying he would like other little mechanics, kind of like a stagger bar, like where the dragon picks up somebody in like a flame cube, and you have to break the cube, and then if you break the cube, the dragon gets more like gets staggered and can be dealt more damage. I think that's fun, but uh but that's like in the later raids. I think like you kind of have to build up to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish they kind of showed some kind of mechanic that they wanted to try out, like other than like a stagger bar, or maybe like since there's that tower behind him, could like is there a ballista you could put on there, and like when he's flying around, someone can load it up and shoot him down so he doesn't do the fire attack every time or something. Because like as a dragon, I would just be flying and breathing everywhere. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
why
I'm like,
land at all?
why land at all, right? These guys, like in the
Well,
lore,
I
they were,
mean, they're probably pretty heavy, bro. Like they're not birds. Pretty exhausting to fly for them, I think.
I mean, the guy
but
flew
still,
there.
like the guy flew there, man. Like,
Um, I think it's fine not having a stun mechanic. I think it should just be like a boss specific mechanic, like something that they do that you have to do to get them to get stunned. If that makes
yeah, yeah.
Give
There's
like
something
examples.
there
that,
has to be some like fight specific mechanic to stun the boss. I think adding a bar and like using specific skills to stun them is just it doesn't really add any tension, and it's kind of just I don't know.
where if
It's
everyone
like
It's
like hits
lame, and
one
it's kind of
leg,
like a
that's all it is.
just
It's
a
lame. It's
redundant.
fucking lame. I
Yeah,
I hate it every time. I hate Defiance. I hate fucking Stagger builds. I mean, your build was funny, Alex, just because everybody hated you and then they loved you.
yeah,
But
that was the hilarious part.
other than that, it's just like it's just so lame. Like, what a cheap way out to calling it a
yeah.
mechanic.
It just feels like you're just doing it to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
I think if you have an ability that like stuns an enemy instead of stunning the boss, maybe it would do damage instead or something.
well, in that instance, it's just like just don't use that skill against the boss because it's useless. That's not the skill for your
The boss.
given events,
Well, I don't
right?
know how many skills there are. So
I don't know. Let's
I don't
say
know.
you
I
have
mean,
a
yeah, you
rotation
could
of like
switch out
8.
your skill set or whatever, but
Yeah. Well, let's say you have a rotation of 8. Your ninth skill isn't that stuns isn't going to be
Yeah.
an issue, right? But now that we're this is perfect because we get to go into the video is taking us. This is at 2 times speed, by the way, for everyone that is watching that didn't watch the dev update, which I don't think is anybody, by the way. Uh, but
Daniel.
yeah, Daniel. um, I wanted to point something out because I didn't think that they were going to show it, but a guy on the right. Hold on, let me see if I can tag him. Uh, yeah, the guy on the right in the last column has a spear, and this is the first time we see the spear, and they don't fucking pan to him.
No, they don't even mention it.
Yeah,
And the dragon actually had a spear for one of the loots.
did he really? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it was like a myth, like a legendary spear at the end of it. I'm like, we're not gonna fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
It's like
Sure,
it's
why
like when
not?
your girl tells you somebody got shot, but they start the story with their friend Carol.
So I had coffee today, and then
Yeah. Somebody had shot, but
like,
my day was awful. But that's a Patrice O'Neill joke for anybody that gets that reference. But yeah, I was like, why don't they just pan the camera to the guy with the spear?
yeah, at least a little bit or something.
maybe
I
some of
kind of,
that.
I kind of didn't like the fact that they kind of stayed on the healer, and then they did a little bit on the bard. Like they were kind of switching back and
Yeah.
forth a little bit. I would have liked it a little more if they could show like the warriors fighting in the center, and or even like they do in the mage a little bit. Like even do the mage with their channels, like all their channels, and see how it looks, kind of thing. But
Yeah. I wanted to see how how the fighters dealt with the boss moving around. Because I mean, realistically, a mage and a ranger can just stay in a very
yeah.
small location. But yeah, I feel like the camera placement on this one wasn't they weren't showing the best. But Daniel, what'd you think about the because you were saying last week that oh there's the shield right there. The little dwarf guy has it. That
Mm-hmm.
cool ass shield. But you were saying last time that 36 people is a little too much, and then now in their alpha 2 they're having 40.
40, yeah.
Well, that's just personal opinion. I don't know. It's because maybe it's because I don't like to manage people. So, are
I mean, there wasn't a lot of managing going on.
you kidding me?
No.
People like all of these are going to be basically adult children that you got to handhold. So,
Well, the other part is too, like these could just be random people. You just click and join a raid party, whatever, right? And
Yeah, but I felt
so,
like because the boss was kind of simple, don't stand in the red fire.
yeah, but even people have different.
that's fair.
Not everyone's your friend.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You'll
We'll
see.
see. Great guild leader.
Yeah, the holy one,
I'm the
the
I'm the
timeless one.
PvE one.
Yeah, the our raid leader is different from the guild leader though.
Oh yeah.
So then the next kind of big thing that I wanted to bring up was the UI. What do we think about the UI? We have
I like
it's
it.
it's funny. We have class specific colors. I think
That's super nice.
does WoW? Yeah, WoW does that, right? Or do you have to do that with an add-on?
I think those are add-ons. WoW just has
Yeah, it
regular.
doesn't really have a lot of UI. Almost everything you see in like clips is fucking add-ons for WoW.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just see like an entire screen just like filled with shit
Yeah,
information,
I
and
Yeah,
know.
then your
Like
characters
can't
like in
even.
the can't even see it. I think the UI is very clean. The nameplates, though, the name bars on enemies can use some work. That's kind of my feedback for.
Yeah.
I'd have to watch a few more videos. I don't really have too much of a, UI yet, but
I hope you can move it because I think I might like if you're a cleric, I almost would want it on like almost the top so you because sometimes a lot of people go left and right. There's not a lot of up and down, so it'd be nice so you can like go left, turn your camera left and right, and then also go up with the mouse and click the person you need
Oh yeah.
instead of
The,
on the side.
Steven actually does
But
show like the UI editor on the fly.
oh,
Maybe
I
it'll
think it
show up.
does.
Yeah.
I can't
But
remember if he did or not.
I was hoping that there would be more of a more of a showcase on the UI stuff because I was hoping that you can like organize your own UI depending on stuff. Like for example, Steven could take all the clerics and put them in like the left corner or something, and he can like specifically
Oh,
move each block around. But
yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, cause like maybe it's my ADHD or something. Just like the colors not all matching up, it's just bugging me.
Oh yeah, just like you want all the blues and all the yeah,
All the
okay, I see
reds.
that.
But yeah, and then
Yeah,
you put all your tanks on uh
like
like
right at the
closer
very end or
or like closer to like your center screen and stuff so you can
yeah,
see it better, and then all the ranges and stuff that unless you're awful die from is random shit
their
you can
own.
put in
Yeah,
the right stuff. But and now we come up to the big topic, the dragon. I actually thought the model looked up it looks a bit dull, but I also thought the area with like the dust clouds and stuff ruined it. I don't know.
yeah,
I feel like this was not a good
but
area to pick for this fight.
Yeah, it was kind of well. Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of weird. It was just like in an empty field. Um,
Yeah, but there was this like film over it.
yeah, like the dust,
Yeah.
yeah,
like the dust really bugged me too. Like, because like some of the attacks, you kind of like what,
Yeah.
but
I
but
mean,
that's
and
kind of the area. I guess you can change that setting. Like,
yeah,
I bet you
maybe
could change it.
but this is like a showcase. If they like I don't know. I don't understand the reasoning for it because I'm sure it makes sense lore wise for there to be dust and like it's a dirty area, it's a battlefield. People been dying there for 1,000 years or whatever. There's going to be like a
Yeah,
smog to the air. But if you're trying to showcase something, I think you just like take that out because I think it would
yeah.
look way better. Like even there where oh I can't go back.
Like even going
Uh
into it, like you can see how much fog it goes.
yeah, like the difference between let me see get to it. Like there's this like line of dust that changes the
Yeah,
quality of the
all around it.
yeah, like the oh too far. Whatever. Anyways, but we get into the fight. So this is where kind of the shedding the skill holy water will take into great effect.
Effect. Right, just those little patches there. Like, imagine like you can just stand in there and not be feel like worried to be moving, or do a one more extra channel attack. Right, it
Yeah.
kind of brings up a little extra. Maybe it's not a 10-second freaking cooldown. Maybe it's a 30. But
So so Daniel, you mentioned this before, but AoE indicators, how what do we want to see out of them?
oh no, I was just saying I like how because I don't know about a lot of games, but they usually have like some kind of border around it, something to like highlight that you're not supposed to step in that. They did for like some of them, but I noticed when the dragon was like flying over and did flame breath and shit. Um,
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of dumb when you have those like red outlines for
Oh,
like AOE or like
I think they're awful too. I really like that was another thing that I really liked
it
when he
just
does
it just
the
looks so stupid. Like honestly, I know there's a lot going on, but that's kind of why I like if it's a little bit more minimal because you actually have to pay attention to what you're doing rather than just like the game. Here's a big red circle. Don't stand in it. Like that just seems stupid.
yeah. So like even in this little screenshot here, I mean Lost Ark is fucking awful for it. I mean Guild Wars 2 as well. Like typically
Yeah,
it would
I
be
I don't
a
like it.
red.
Honestly, I feel like if there's an AOE, um, I, I understand they do it to differentiate between like your player abilities and the enemies, but it just kind of ruins the immersion of the fight. It's like
Yeah,
it's like basically a big sign in my face. Don't stand here. You're too stupid to realize what it is. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Well, this one's perfect because typically you see the skill that starts small and then goes big and then big, but they did it instead of having that red indicator, like a red highlighted indicator on the ground, it's just the fire itself. And then the damage comes out when it erupts. Right. I really liked that. It felt way more that you're in the world. You're immersed than you were just fucking playing a game, right?
Yeah.
Uh
that's my 2 cents.
yeah. I mean, the other thing is when people were dying, I couldn't really see where the body was. I don't know about you guys. Like when people were dead, like there's no like my friend's dead indicator.
I don't know. I wasn't really looking for that.
Alex, did you notice?
Oh, like they're well, they do have the and bones on that freaking
Yeah, but where?
what's it called on?
Yeah, like so he's going to go res a guy right now. I don't know where he is. Like how did like shouldn't like his body be somewhere? Like he's looking for him right now.
Oh, like more of like an actual indicator for the.
Yeah, like right here. Like there's no body or anything there.
Yeah.
So I just find that that's going to be what I think they should put even like a little like tick or something, like a gravestone
Like a
or
little
something.
well, that's also could be like a marker guy. Like if someone, hey, my buddy's died, you fucking put a marker on him, right?
Yeah,
Maybe that could be like a skill challenge thing or a skill based thing.
that is true. And then I guess we'll just fly through it. I don't know. Would you like to see if you had to think of like something to improve this boss fight, what would you add?
Like for, I think for like showcase wise, I wouldn't mind like a little cutscene and like a phase 2 or something where he like is just fully engulfed in fire or something, right?
Right.
Because I know the hat when they get to like a quarter health, he kind of switches up his attack patterns.
I think he's
But I kind
gonna
of would,
do it here, where he like summons the people. Yeah,
yeah, when he's like summons the minions, like I wouldn't mind one more mechanic like that, like one more like either uh where he does like this big AoE breath on the ground and everyone has to either like run away or put up like a shield, like Daniel was saying, like put a shield up, but like kind of something that he like a massive, if you didn't leave you're gonna die kind of thing,
like white mechanic.
like a wipe
Oh, I
mechanic a
hate
little bit.
them.
Pardon?
I know a lot of people don't like wipe mechanics, but it's just an easy one. Just like, and then when he does that, all that water is gone. Like, because they always talk about like the environment always like going with it. It'd be cool just to see all that water just dissipate as you guys like run away from it.
Like
They need
evaporate
to
and stuff.
add
Yeah,
they need to add something like Monster Hunter so I could jump on its back and start wailing
just start
in the head,
stabbing her.
just punching in the back of the head. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a dragon's a dragon. It seemed like a pretty normal dragon, so I can't really expect too much from it.
Yeah,
It would be cool to have like dragons with different elemental types that cause different debuffs if you get hit by their shit.
I
Like
would
I
you.
don't know if they're gonna have anything like that in this game, but you know, if for example, I don't know, maybe a dragon will have like acid breath or something. It'll
I think they do
give
have
you
different elemental dragons.
Yeah.
If you get hit by it, then you get like an armor debuff, and then you gotta wait like a couple minutes to get your armor back. Otherwise, you'll get like cranked pretty fast. So maybe for fights like that, you would need multiple tanks for like one to switch out or something.
Yeah.
So
Composition
More.
becomes important.
Yeah. Yeah. More competition. Composition oriented than anything.
Yeah. So it just like flew past the one mechanic using the ads to absorb it. Do we want to see
Oh yeah.
more stuff like that, or do we want to see a bit more complicated things? Because that was a bit like easy. Oh, you kill the ads. You
Yeah.
don't kill the ads, it gets damage. Like, so to me, that's like right in the middle of complication, especially at this level. I think they're level 25. Uh, on like the scale, where do we want to see that for these big raids?
I like the progression. Like Lost Ark kind of does like a good job with like progression wise. Like everything gets a little harder per. And this first raid is nice. Like kill the ads, kill the big thing, easy,
yeah,
right?
I don't think it was like overly complicated. I mean, even if you didn't notice it and it gets you killed the first time, like it's a raid. So unless you're you know uh, a little bit slow upstairs, then I think you should be able to realize what's going on.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it should be a cakewalk. You know what I mean?
No, and I mean, I think that's kind of the issue that modern MMOs are coming to right now is that a lot of
I
things do
mean, most
feel
yeah, it's like the difficulty is just too easy. I mean, for if we're gonna be honest, most people that play MMOs are a little bit more hardcore in the gaming sense. Like I guess a lot of people play them casually, but I'd say for the most part, like a big demographic of people that play MMOs, especially people that are following a game like this, are a little bit more in tune with what's
entrenched.
going on. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So high key, low key, no key. So now that we see kind of the initial raid, I know that a lot of us like the rating. What are we high key excited for Alpha 2 when it comes to rating? What are we low key excited for, and what are we not excited for?
I'm like kind of excited about seeing new raid bosses. Looking forward to it because I think that'll um kind of spark my interest in playing the game.
Because if we even like take the art and the like the model and the gears as kind of like a peephole into their design philosophies, I cannot imagine that some of those guys, some of those artists at Intrepid are going to give us just, a giant ogre, a giant spider, a giant,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a giant shark that you fight.
at least I hope not, because that would
Yeah.
be kind of boring.
I mean, if you
Um,
look at the art stuff and like they usually, I don't think they did it for this one, but usually at at the end of the stream, they do like an art showcase of the
Hmm.
models and stuff. Like a lot of them is like not a lot of stuff you see, and it's like very creative, and that's kind of one of the things that keeps me in every month. So that's what you're high key excited for. What are you low key excited for?
I'd say I'm like that's what I'm kind of excited about.
Okay.
I'm not very excited about. Um, I'd say the loot because from what we've been discussing, like the crafting better.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the. I mean, I'm hoping the loot's good, but I can imagine it might be a little bit lackluster. Maybe who knows?
Hmm.
Um, and then high key. I guess it's more related to dungeons. I think it's just cool that they're gonna have like different enemy compositions because that's one thing I wish other games would do. Like, I mean, ESO actually did this where they would have two renditions of the same dungeon. One would just be like a. They didn't do this with everyone though, like only all the beginning ones. But just have the same dungeon but with a different type. I think adds
Did
some
it? Is that
variety.
it?
I don't. I don't know. Is that it? The spear? The Ember Blade?
It looked to me it looks like a spear, but it doesn't say.
Yeah.
It just says
Yeah.
Ida heroic.
Yeah, I think I mean if even if we look at the mage class, there's like a huge elemental aspect to it and with like different buffs and stuff and variety and the damages. So to not transfer that aspect into the enemies, I think is a missed opportunity. So high key excited for the variations. Low key excited for what'd you say?
The loot.
No, he's not excited for the loot. Is Daniel here?
Yeah, I'm
Daniel's
here.
on his phone.
Yeah.
What were you low key excited for again?
The loot, because I just feel like it's not going to be too crazy compared to
That's what you're
crafting.
not excited for.
Hmm.
High key, low key, no key. There was three.
Yeah, high key was just the very. It's not rating related, but the dungeons. Like I think it's going to be cool to have the different enemy variation.
Low key.
And then mid key is I say um different enemy, like different bosses,
Oh
like just to
yes, yes,
see
yes.
what other bosses they have.
Yeah. Then Alex, how about you?
High key, I'm pumped about the 40-person raid. I can't wait. I love that shit. Low key, I really like the dungeon styles, where there's not just go through this tunnel and you don't do nothing. You just kind of fight through the mobs, but there's kind of like an objective. And I'm not excited about rolling for items.
Rolling. Yeah, that's
Like I don't know. I really like what game was it? I think it was Ion, where anything you killed, you would get your own loot. Or
I
was
thought
it?
Ion was rolled too, but I know what you're saying.
I can't remember what, but like all the loot's the same percentage, but if you killed 100 dogs, like you and your friend, you might get 80 meat, and he might get 60. Like there was always like it might have like a difference.
Yeah. But yeah, at least you were
Uh,
getting rewarded at some stage.
yeah,
Yeah.
having 40, like this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get a streamer on one dragon for 8 hours. I gotta get this fucking da 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 da. I gotta get this
Yeah.
and we need 10 of these just to build our raid community up.
Yeah, the loot I'm not excited for. I would rather have it as crafting materials rather than like straight up gear. But
Oh
thank
yeah, yeah.
like he doubled down on the statement he as in Stephen Sharif doubled down that like crafted gear is going to be the best gear. But the
Yeah.
dungeon materials you might have to go get in the dungeons and raid stuff. So I think I'm on the same page. I'm not excited for everything that has to do with after a raid. Because there's 40 people there and fucking three weapons pop up.
Like and you have to roll for it. It's
Yeah, it's like, oh god. Um,
like
but I don't know. I also don't know how they're gonna reinvent that. Because of course you're gonna have to give gear. Because I am not everybody that's gonna play this game. No, not everybody's gonna be a blacksmith or a weaponsmith or an armor smith. So they're gonna have to find their own gear somehow. And getting it from uh an hour events is a
raid.
good idea.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to put it in at some case, but I don't know what other way they can do it where it's like, oh, 40 people play, five people get rewarded. Like,
Well,
I
I
don't
hope
know.
it's like 10 if 10 people got rewarded,
So you do it four
maybe.
times. I don't want to do
Like
content
not
four times, especially a story content like this.
Yeah, no, but like it'd be better instead of just getting like 3 heroics, you get like 10. Like there's a dragon horde and everyone you can get like a weapon or just from going at like in the dragon horde kind of thing. Stop doing
Yeah.
the duck.
I'm
Uh,
I'm not excited for I'm not excited for the gear. I hope that they find a good way to do it. I'm high key excited for the party compositions. I feel like there's a lot of fun to be had to have like different parties and see which classes can do the best rating. And I'm low key excited for the story behind each raid because this was actually pretty interesting. I mean, the guy that was talking about it is uh first time on the live stream, so you can tell he was a bit nervous. But
mhm.
from what I grabbed, it sounded like instead of the game giving you the story, you go out and find it and you run into the story, which I really like. And with the whole steel bloom and the lady and stuff, yeah, it seemed interesting. So I'm hoping that they continue that through the
Yeah,
entire thing. But we just have one more segment. This has actually been a way longer show than I thought it would be. Oh, well, yeah, I was also going to mention that if you look in the back there, in the fighter showcase, everyone had a great sword that was a fighter. But you can see, let's see if I can tag it. There's one guy with a one-handed sword with no shield. So I'm wondering what kind of buffs and stuff.
might have
Like,
like a book or maybe he's a wizard.
no, he
As
does.
a
He's
dual.
he's not. He just has a one-handed sword. I'm trying to pause at the right time. But oh, was that him? The guy that just leaped? Yeah, the guy that landed on that leap. If you look at how he's standing, he just has it's not over his shoulder like all the other great swords. It's just like at his hip. So
Yeah,
I'm wondering. So they didn't show his weapon attacks, and they didn't show the spear's weapon attacks. There was no spell book, which is probably the best weapon they've shown, in my opinion.
yeah. Oh, I didn't notice that they don't have it. They
Yeah,
didn't have any spell books. Forgot about that.
all the bards had wands in this one.
Yeah, and no musical instruments at all either. Like,
Yeah, they had the flute, but you could like it didn't pan over to it. We were just watching
no,
Steven play the cleric. So I mean, like
yeah,
if I had to give them feedback for this one, it would be let the can go. The camera should pan to different people more often, especially in these large raids. But we just have one more little segment to go, which is next up. What do we want to see next? Uh, live stream in September because we're still going to get live streams. The next one hasn't been announced yet as of this recording. So, what do we want to see for next month? We've seen PvPs, we've seen now raids, we've seen crafting, we've seen
the housing,
housing, yeah, the freeholds, uh, lighting, auto attack stuff. What do we want to see? What's next?
the
Uh,
government stuff.
community events, ERP.
ERP. Yes, I hope they have an ERP
That's
stream.
what I want. Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah,
Well,
or the government events. Like what can governors do
they had the
and
mayor
raid
thing.
leaders? They? I
Yep.
forget now. I
I
gotta
know
rewatch
It'd
it.
be
have a
cool
lot.
just to explore like things that you could do outside of the main game, just like when you're fucking around or whatever. Because that's like half the fun of MMOs. You know,
Yeah.
Beating your meat.
I think
yeah.
because September is going to be the last month before the last month that has a developer update that doesn't have an Alpha 2 because October is
Yeah.
going to have the Alpha 2. I think it would be cool to go see Castle Siege and how
Oh,
and
right.
re-look at how the big guild castles and stuff works and how guild works in general. But I
Yeah.
don't if I remember correctly, I don't even think they're going to showcase. I mean, they're going to have Alpha 2 Castle Sieges at the launch of it in Phase 1. But
Yeah. And they were talking. They weren't going to do the rogue yet, right? And then the summoner was still in progress.
Yeah, rogue. So the rogue's going to be in phase 2, which is November. No, December, if I
December,
remember correctly.
November, whatever.
And I imagine that they're going to have a showcase for it prior to that, or they're just going to be like, here's the
Here
rogue.
we
Have
go.
fun. But
Yeah,
then the summoner is going to show up after that. In phase 3? Yeah, phase 3.
yeah,
So
something like that.
another tidbit that he said, speaking of classes, that archetypes are still in their like the sub archetypes stuff are still in their conception phases.
Really,
Yeah, yeah.
holy. So we're not gonna
He's
even be able to. You're just gonna be playing the main class then.
yeah for the first up until phase 3, which then would add the cleric and the tank sub secondary classes or secondary archetypes. So I imagine that the cleric and tank one is close to finish, if not at least being developed, and then
Yeah.
everything else is still pen and paper.
Jesus, we still have like 4 years to go. Anyways.
Yeah, it's one fucking long road ahead.
Oh,
We got a
We
lot of
uh,
episodes, Alex. We got a
that's
lot
a
of
lot of
episodes.
uh, we're gonna be a One Piece show now, fucking forever.
And have a remake and a live action.
Yeah.
You know what we should do every 3 months? We should analyze our episode from 3 months prior and talk about the same things.
To see if it progressed.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Well, our first
Cool.
episode was about 3 months ago.
Yeah, so we
Oh,
should start talking about the same things. We're gonna run out of things to talk about.
Nah, there's always something to talk about. There's podcasts out there that go for like 3 hours and they do it weekly about ashes. We're just fucking normies.
3 hours, holy
Yeah.
fucking nerds.
I mean, there's one guy, Narth, the video that I sent you guys. His entire job is to talk about this game. He finds
yeah.
topics all the time. It's all about the effort, Daniel. You gotta just put more effort into it. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
so final thoughts.
Um, I don't know. Looking forward to Alpha 1 or 2 or whatever the fuck it is.
Did you get a
Maybe.
key?
Well, I didn't really look for it, but they're not selling them anymore. So
Are they?
They're selling Alpha 2 keys.
no,
You should.
I looked at the store. I didn't see anything for sale.
Oh, well, let's check right now. Yeah, they're there.
Send me that link. I must have been looking because I was on their page and I just looked at the store. Maybe they took it off because the lash out at the thingamajiggers.
They just like hit it for a few days.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyways, uh, that was a fun show.
Yeah, it was
You're gonna have your outro.
extravagant.
I didn't really write an outro today. Hold on. There it is. Didn't really
Should
have
we
an
do a
outro,
little?
but thank you everybody for joining us. I'm sure there was thousands of you in the chat, just spamming the
All right.
chat. Yeah. Uh, the YouTube video will be up tonight. Next week, next episode will probably be what, the 20th, roughly.
I'm gonna be in,
20. Pardon?
I'm gonna be in Mexico.
What day are you not in Mexico?
The day that's not uh,
What?
after or before the 15th and the 22nd.
23rd then. Nah, we'll do the
Buddy,
29th.
I'm getting back to Canada.
The
Take it easy.
29th. The 29th will be
Chill.
our next episode.
Right.
Sunday 29th. It's going to be at the end of the month. We got a busy month. I have school starting. My birthday's on the 25th. Wish me a happy birthday to appease my ego. But other than that, thank you everyone for joining. This has been Gaming the Meta with 3 lonely average guys talk about something that doesn't exist. And I'll see you
Mhm.
next time.